Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to go over this genre on YouTube that's been around quite a long time, and it's made some twists and turns over the past few years due to some events happening. Now, the beginning of this this movement is basically is the fear mongering, conspiratorial, doom and gloom, anti establishment movement that really was launched several years ago, more than a decade ago, probably close to 15 years ago, around the financial crisis, shortly before perhaps, by the gold pumpers. The gold pumpers. The frauds and the idiots. The frauds, of course, were the ones, the kingpins, making all the money, creating propaganda, and the idiots were the people that were following them, that were buying gold from them based upon all types of disinformation, fake news, so on and so forth. Now, that movement is still alive today, but it has been dwindling every year, and it was really big. It's still somewhat sizable. It's been dwindling mainly because of the cryptocurrency industry, which is, of course, another scam. Many of the people have flocked to that. And, of course, that also has some overlapping features with the gold pumpers. Now, another twist and turn that's occurred has been due to the deplatforming of Alex Jones, removing Alex Jones. Alex Jones and many others served as somewhat of a foundation for the gold pumpers and the conspiratorial crowd. Because, of course, they'd been around before YouTube. And if you look past Alex Jones, or let's say before Alex Jones, you had many others. So this whole doom, anti-establishment, this thing has been going on for decades, kind of on the side, in the periphery. And it was certain events that brought it to the forefront, namely the financial crisis in 2008. So if you look back, and I'm not going to present a full history of what I see anyway, of how this movement began. I just want to give you a little bit of insight. But if you look back a few decades ago, Edward Griffin, the creature of Jekyll Island, that's a conspiratorial garbage nonsense about the Federal Reserve, that type of crowd. And of course, they overlap with the libertarians. Almost all those people are libertarians. I'm not going to get into that today, but libertarians, you've got, similar to the gold pumpers, you've got the kingpins who are the frauds, and you have the idiots who follow them. The libertarians are basically there's a front for corporate fascism. I'm not going to get into that today. I've covered that in the past. But so you have this convergence of all these things, and so you have a distrustful public. Many of these people are delusional. They have a low educational achievement. They're not particularly intelligent, and they fall prey to listening to all the fake news garbage. Now, of course, these individuals, it's pretty funny when you look at who they are that are the mouthpieces of these conspiracy movements. By and large, for the most part, it's pretty funny. Well, just about all of them, first of all, they don't really get to the center of things. They just put out generic things. The bankers, the Fed, right? They just kind of create myths out there. They don't really get to the core, the bottom of things. And the reason why, of course, is because they're all part of that same tribe, as is this gentleman today, George Gammon. And so you kind of have these people that aren't really telling you the full story, and they're twisting things, and they're doing it to rip you off. Now, George Gammon is a newcomer, and I know this whole segment pretty well, better than anybody, I would say. And so I can see, if you could take a look at his his channel and take a look at the guys on here. Rick Rule. I mean, this guy's like a pump and dumper. He pushes all this nonsense to these conspiratorial lunatics, and he games them, getting them to jump into his penny stocks, and then of course he'll dump them. Andrew Henderson, Nomad Capitalist. This guy is a known scam artist. I mean, there's no doubt about that. You can look into it. I've known this for a long time. Of course, he is in cahoots with Jeff Berwick and Doug Casey. Jeff Berwick was the guy who was pushing all these second passports, huge scam artist. I know the history of all these guys. But, all these people, basically, their whole message is America's going to collapse. Leave now before America collapses, before America experiences hyperinflation. Buy gold. Be your own bank. Okay? And meanwhile, guys like Henderson and I don't know about Rule, but his comrades like Doug Casey and Peter Schiff and Mike Maloney, gold pumpers. These are guys who are telling you you need to get out of America. Go to Puerto Rico, right? And of course, Puerto Rico has been an economic mess for a very long time. They filed for bankruptcy, I believe, a few years ago. Some of these other guys, Doug Casey and Jeff Berwick, tried to convince you to move to Latin America and buy real estate. Of course, they're selling the real estate. They want you to buy it, overpriced. The whole theme is escape the collapse coming in America. Escape the hyperinflation collapsing. Move to Argentina. That's right, Argentina. The country that's in a complete economic mess. It's been that way for many years now. And so these guys, they talk about how America is so bad. And actually, America is the safest place. America is the only country in the world where it's virtually impossible for hyperinflation to occur because America controls commodities through the purchase and sales of the commodity exchanges, which must settle in the dollar. I've talked about that before. So anyway, you've got this newer kind of movement here that is, it's a little less gold pumpish. In other words, it's not as hardcore gold pumpish or pumpers as before. They're certainly there. It's more now about that whole mentality. Get out of the dollar. Stock market's going to crash. Yeah. And so they do pump gold, but they also pump cryptocurrencies because you see, they know that they can't ignore that big crowd. So they want to suck that crowd in to the scam as well. Now, you can just go through the list. I know most of these people here, some of them I don't know, but you know the game. You're judged by the company you keep. Adam Taggart, this guy's a scam artist. I mean, I profiled this Lynn Alden, which, I don't know if it's a girl or a guy. And I'm going to show you a little more about her here shortly. But folks, here's the golden rule. When you spot a con artist, all you have to do is see who they hang around with. And chances are extraordinarily high that all those people are con artists as well, because they all form syndicates. They form networks. And you see this in all these genres. You see it on YouTube, certainly with the gold pumpers. You see it with these investment guru guys. They kind of hang around with each other and protect each other. And you don't see it as much with them. But you see it more with these guys because of the business model. Jared Salente, complete fraudster. You see it a lot with Richard Wolff. This guy is he's a fake populist. He's a clown. He's a clown economist. This guy is such a bozo. And he's a Marxist. And so we're going to talk a little bit about this guy as well here. Uneducated economist. And you can just go through. I mean, I've been following these scam artists, the whole scam artist portal, for such a long time. I know what's going on. This guy, Marin Katuza, he's been involved in all types of bullshit, marketing deception, lies with Doug Casey. I mean, these people are, you're talking about a lot of penny stock pump and dump trash. I can't specifically speak for everybody, of course, but, until proven otherwise, you should assume that they're all scam artists. That's what I would do, because I've just learned this in the past. Jim Rogers, obviously this guy's a scam artist, makes all his money through media appearances, speaking events, paid speaking events, and he gets on the board of shady companies in Russia and China. That's why he pumps all that garbage. And if you look at his track record, it's like one of the worst in the world. Kim Kiyosaki, of course. Robert Kiyosaki is going to be here. Mike Pinto. This guy's such a clown. He's a con and an idiot. I've got so many stories on that guy. So I'm not going to even go through this list because there's going to be too many people. Of course, Peter Schiff. You can predict who's going to be on this list. I'm not going to go through this list anymore because I'm going to run into, it's going to be just too many people. I'm going to feel the need. Oh my gosh, look, meet Kevin. There you go, folks. Okay. So what did I just tell you? I just told you that if you see a con man, if you can spot a pure scammer con artist, all you have to do is see who they hang around with if you want to spot a bigger group of scammers and con artists. And there you go. We see Meet Kevin. Okay. And his whole running for governor was a scam. He was never going to do it. He just wanted the free PR. And in fact, I do believe that Kevin promised his people who donated to his campaign that he would buy, I think, 3 or 4 times as much on his side of AMC stock. He never did that, or he didn't hold it like he said he would. That was a complete scam. I mean, that right there is enough to be investigated by the state of California. Anyway, so let me just kind of go over the big point here. Lynette Zhang, she's another gold pumping scammer, produces all types of hysterical bullshit, lies, fake news to sell gold, right? To sell gold. And this guy, he actually entertains these two lunatics, Jack Dorsey and Kathy Wood. So Kathy Wood says, yeah, deflation. And Jack Dorsey says, well, hyperinflation. And that just tells you, if you thought Jack Dorsey was a sharp guy, he's a clown. Anybody who, I mean, he has no excuse, right? He's running a financial firm. He's well connected, right? I mean, in his position, for him to claim hyperinflation is going to come to America, obviously the guy is a moron, complete moron. Kathy Wood, of course, deflation. She wants things to happen to fit within her narrative, so people won't be laughing at her. So let me go ahead now and talk a little bit more. Let's take a look. Actually, let's take a look at a couple of videos here, just briefly. Okay, so this is on his homepage, I guess. Fed bails out Wall Street. Discover how you get screwed.
The Fed bails out Wall Street. Discover how you are getting screwed. I'm going to explain this to you.
So listen to that intro, by the way. And I mean, it's almost kind of like implicit that this is his bullshit. He's like a con man. Listen to his delivery. It's almost like parody, like comedy, right? If you don't see it that way, then I think you'd be listening to the wrong people. Let's take a look at this. Global Elite's Great Reset Agenda. Shocking discoveries revealed.
The Global Elite's Great Reset Agenda revealed. And I know this sounds like tinfoil hat stuff, but I can promise you it is.
Notice, folks, these people, let me show you here. Here you go. Don Lepre. Notice the emphasis.
The second way to make money that I stumbled onto was placing tiny classified ads in the newspaper.
And let me just go ahead and mention something here. See, these guys, they actually go to speaking schools. They go to these speaking events that teach them how to be charlatans. Donald Trump goes to these events, or I guess they're paid programs. They're kind of they get coached on how to present garbage. And go ahead and listen to this guy again.
Foil hat stuff, but I can promise you.
And there's another guy actually is associated with him who does the same thing. He emphasizes those words like that, and you can kind of tell. Chris Martenson, who's a coronavirus con man. This is a guy, like many of these people, they've lied about their past in order to elevate themselves, which essentially is fraud. They're trying to exaggerate their sense of importance in order to lure people in. I've exposed this guy, Martinson, a long time ago. He's going to be in one of their future events, and I'll get to that here shortly. But, yeah, this type of trash should be really just banned from all portals. It is kind of Alex Jones garbage. And you can see here, IMF plan to replace Bitcoin, gold, and the dollar with digital SDR. And people believe, just because he puts stuff on a whiteboard, they believe this guy. So, well, maybe this guy is a little bit conspiratorial, exaggerated, but, maybe he's got credibility. So let's take a look and see. Let's take a look at this guy's background. See if he's credible. Maybe he's just has misaligned agendas, right? So I pulled up an older video. You can see this on the same channel. House hacking. Millionaire explains everything you need to know. I mean, this guy, what, is he like Meet Kevin's dad?
In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about house hacking, and I'm going to show you why it's the best financial decision you can possibly make.
See, folks, these guys all have something in common. They're all con artists. So they're going to go wherever the gusto is, you see. They're going to go wherever the gusto is. And if it's not working, they're going to go somewhere else. Or if it fades, they're going to go somewhere else. This is, and you've seen this, or I have certainly, with cryptocurrencies. A lot of these gold people, not all of them, but a lot of them who weren't gold dealers, let's say, but they were making money pumping gold. And there's many ways to do that, getting paid under the table or selling fake news and trash to the conspiratorial crowd to get paid money through Patreon and views and all this garbage, or even maybe participating in these gold pumping events. Many of them have gone over to cryptocurrencies. Why? It's a bigger audience. It's a lot more momentum, right? A lot more. That's sucked in more of the mainstream. This guy was doing real estate before. Let's take a look at his channel here. So these are his oldest videos. And I already know this because I've already looked at this guy. I've already exposed this guy. So he started posting videos 2 years ago. And he's a real estate agent. He's a real estate agent. You can go through the videos and see he's showing you places and then he's trying to do a show. Position yourself as an expert even though you're not. Kind of the Tim Ferriss fake it till you make it con. And he's not really getting a whole lot of traction here. I mean, you can imagine some people as his channel's grown, it's 350,000 now, I think. I'm sure quite a few people have probably gone through and looked at some of his older videos, so probably he didn't have many views on these first videos, right? Just go through and read all these titles here, and right, real estate investing for beginners. I mean, he probably should have, if he wanted to scam people, he probably should have made courses like Meet Kevin, because the suckers are into that. People have been, and this all, by the way, this whole course is garbage, folks. This is because of people like Robert Kiyosaki. There's other people, but his role is basically saying, oh, college is a waste of time and money. You're not going to learn anything. And then you also have the whole digital nomad scam as well, because a lot of these people are into that scam, and they post their courses on Udemy and Teachable and Skillshare. But anyway, so let's go through here. He's not getting a whole lot. Every once in a while he gets some views, but, even a couple of years later, he's got several videos that are, 500, 1,000. And now, of course, he puts Dave Ramsey in here, and he gets a lot of views. And shocking new insights, right? All clickbait garbage. He's trying to get more views, putting people there. Elizabeth Warren in the title. And so you'll notice he went from fairly, reasonable thumbnails to, look at this, more of the kind of wacko, conspiratorial, clickbaitish thumbnails, right? And now he's getting into the Fed. Oh, housing bubble, deflation, inflation, the Fed, right? So he's going more towards that, more and more. He's getting more views, right? And then before you know it, he's a full-on con man. You see? So what you have here, ladies and gentlemen, is we've seen this before. We saw this with this, what's the guy's name? Grickmeyer guy who was sanctioned in the financial industry, and then I guess he didn't have the money to pay the fine. It was only $10,000, which is nothing. But then he went off to real estate. Now he's got his investment channel on YouTube. I profiled him. Best of Us is his channel. And then you've got Meet Kevin, same thing. Real estate wasn't hacking it. And I'll go over this with Kevin here in the future. Kevin, actually, his real estate wasn't going as well as he wanted it to go because, of course, he enlisted in the services of scam artist Dave Ramsey in his little real estate referral business, right? Think about that. You're paying Dave Ramsey for referrals, right? Kevin, what's going on? And there was a lawsuit where Dave Ramsey, they settled out of court. Kevin settled with them because, and I'll go over this in the future, Kevin didn't want his financial details disclosed because there was going to be an investigation. And that tells you the whole story about Kevin. Anyway, so think about that with his false claims of money and net worth and all this. So you got this guy. He's basically a failed real estate agent. Now he's an economic and investment guru, right? And so the newest business model that I have seen in terms of these doom and gloom, fear-mongering guys is they are pumping out all these events. Now, the event scheme has been going on for a long time, but this is a more recent acceleration. Like, in other words, people that have just kind of arisen on the scene are doing these things. And what they're doing is they're getting people with more visibility and exposure than they have to come to the events. We'll talk about that here in a minute. So before we get back to Mr. Gammon, I wanted to show you this guy, and I want to show you him because I ran across him in one of George Gammon's little events. He had an event. Gammon is a kind of a coordinator of these events that he holds, and I saw this guy. And so what Gammon will do is he'll interview people on his channel and make them known in their views, and they'll, like this guy, I'm sure Gammon didn't have to pay him to go to the event. We'll show some of the people here that he had as well. But I wanted to go over this guy because think about it for a second. You got this guy, 90,000 subscribers. He's e-begging. Send me money. And this, I'm almost positive he works in a hardware store. He works in a hardware store. His channel name is Uneducated Economist, and so he's going through and giving his little drivel here.
It will not force, but it'll scare people into the United States, and generally that's the U.S. Treasuries. If you can get the U.S. Treasury, like the 10-year benchmark, to drop, most likely you're probably going to see the mortgage rates come down as well, and we've actually experienced a little bit of that over the last week. So if interest rates stay down and the inventories begin to rise, that'll start creating another hot housing market kind of thing where the prices will continue.
This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. It's just the housing market actually is still fairly hot, although it's calmed down. And I mean, I'm not going to even go in and this guy's just talking about just very basic stuff and doesn't have an understanding of the big picture. And so, the people that are listening to him, which I don't even know why they would. It's funny. You got all these people that talk about nonsense, and I'm going to get into Patrick Boyle. I'm going to eventually have a full video on him. He talks about things like, Patrick, you're supposed to be a hedge fund manager. Why are you discussing things that, he's going to explain this and that after it's relevant? Why don't you guide people how they can make money, right? So, folks, what are you wasting your time on these idiots? Either you're involved in the financial markets as an investor, or you're not. Stop wasting your time with low-yield disinformation garbage.
I think the Federal Reserve quite knows, and that's probably one of the things that they're going to hold back on and say, like, oh, well, maybe because of all the war and everything else, all this global turmoil going on, maybe now is not exactly the right time to be raising interest rates, considering everybody is pouring into the United States,
So you heard it there. It's completely stupidity. Like, the Fed's not going to raise interest rates because they're worried about the war, right? I mean, this guy's completely out of touch with reality. Once again, he works at a hardware store, and he should call himself the hardware store economist. This is a guy that George Gammon had at one of his events. He had an event in January this year, and I guess, he sees it's a gravy train. He's going to have another one. Here's another one coming in June. And this pop-up here, Peter Schiff. I mean, God. So this is the event that he had in January 7th. Only $800 to attend live, right? And you can see, I don't know that everyone attended here. Ron Paul is a complete fraud. This guy, he's working for the biggest financial publishing conspiratorial garbage boiler room in the world, Agora Financial, and he's being paid to pump gold and use his clout as a former politician for people to believe in him and trust him. The guy's a complete disgrace. Let me go ahead and show you now a video that I did. I'm not going to play the video, but I'm going to show you from this event. So here it is. Rebel Capitalist. He also has another channel, Rebel Capitalist. Live. Build your wealth and thrive in today's crazy economic environment with some of the brightest money and personal freedom experts. Join the pros and get the intel live. Money and personal freedom experts. What the hell is that? What's a money expert? Isn't that like a con artist? There's no such thing as a money. That's like made up term. Personal freedom expert? Like what is... I mean, well, I'll, at least he's not calling them investment experts. I mean, anyone can say they're a money expert, right? Anyone can say they're a freedom expert. I mean, what? Unbelievable. So, let me show you here. The uneducated economist who looks like he's homeless and is doing his streams from his car. He's at this event. I don't show it in this video. I just show the top guys he's having at his event, and there's other ones below. But notice, so personal freedom, portfolio building, macroeconomics, real estate, gold, Bitcoin. I mean, so who do you have talking about these things? Interesting, huh? Let's see. Here we go. I don't know if you can see the name. So, Ron Paul, this guy's a complete con man and fraudster, no doubt about it. Gold pumper, a paid gold pumper, pitching conspiratorial, doom and gloom, fake news, garbage from Porter Stansberry. Mike Dillard, I exposed this guy close to 15 years ago. He's an associate of Mike Maloney, another con artist. And Mike Dillard actually, this guy actually got sanctioned by the CFTC. And Robert Kiyosaki. I mean, this guy, Robert Kiyosaki is a career con man. And so, I mean, you can just read this. Some of the world's brightest money and personal freedom experts will be at Rebel Capitalist Live. From renowned economists, there's no renowned economists on this list, and the ones below are even like you've got that uneducated economist, and I mean, this is just complete trash. You're putting together an event like this with the themes in these guys. You're obviously a fraudster, a scumbag. Now, this is another participant of this event. Never heard of this person. It's one of those newly popped up clowns. And you can look at the LinkedIn here. And so you see, people that viewed her or him or whatever it is also viewed, you see, you can take a look. And it's funny because this person goes by Lynn Alden. And you can see the full name is Schwartzer. So ask yourself why Lynn Alden doesn't want to market herself with her last name of Schwartzer, right? Ask yourself why. And you can see here, Lynn basically has an engineering degree. And so Lynn makes up this story how all of a sudden he or she is now providing research for financial institutions. Complete lie, complete fraudster. And basically it seems to me that Lynn lost her or his job and got into the doom and gloom market. And so let's show you here another. And this is the university that Lynn, engineering management. So, okay. And this school is like third tier. It's like bordering. It's maybe not even third tier. It's garbage. So apparently Lynn lost her or his job and got into the whole. All of a sudden is now an investment expert. And you see people, the naive people, which that's the majority of people out there, they believe it because Lynn is being interviewed on all these channels and being positioned as such. You see. And I'm going to get into this guy. I've exposed this guy, Raoul Paul, Real Vision Finance. Real Vision's a scam. It's a complete scam because Raoul Paul is a scam artist. He's involved in conspiratorial garbage. He's also teamed up with Kathy Wood, by the way. And Raoul Paul is another guy that lied about his credentials, lied about his past. He claimed it predicted the financial crisis, which he did not. He claimed he was a hedge fund manager at Goldman Sachs, which he was not. He was in the sales and marketing team. Okay? I mean, all these people, it's just shocking how they're all able to go out and just lie and commit fraud and nothing happens to them. I'll be going over this guy maybe in the future. I've covered him in the past. We'll just see if I waste any more time on this guy. And so you can see here, another Seeking Alpha stooge, right? Doesn't know what he or she is talking about at all. But now they're an expert. And so here you can see Lynn Alden. I wrote this name here, her last name. And, I'm not sure why she wants to leave off that name. And you can see the false claims here. you can cater to anybody you want. You can cater your research to God. Doesn't mean God is interested. And I want to see your research. You don't even understand institutional investors. She's never even worked in the financial industry. This is just, folks, this type of thing is going on all over the place, especially YouTube. YouTube harbors this crap. It facilitates. It allows all this trash. And before you know it, this person, the typical stooge that watches YouTube, is going to think this person's an expert because, oh, well, I saw, he's on this channel and on this channel and on this channel, right? And they're not realizing that all these channels that this person is on are not credible. It's all one big clusterfuck. It's all one big circle jerk. You understand? Circle jerk, right? All these guys teaming up, conspiring to screw you with trash, with garbage. Now, if you want some entertainment, this IMT gold trading, if you want some entertainment, you can tune into this Zaynette Lang. I mean, she's clearly she's pumping out the same lines that the gold pumpers were pumping out 10 years ago. She's still throwing out the nonsense out. It's just ridiculous. She's still talking about hyperinflation. Hell, even Peter Schiff stopped talking about hyperinflation. So here you have it, the Rebel Capitalist Live 3. And if you can't make it to this scam event, of course they want to sell you a ticket to be involved in the stream. And this is just some of the world's brightest money and personal freedom experts. So a little bit. Let's see. The real estate guys. Now this clown he's been teaming up with the gold pumpers, the conspiratorial nutcases, for quite some time. He's been doing business with Peter Schiff. I mean, I know all these. Now there's a few people I don't know here, but I don't know this Jason Hartman and this guy Mark Moss. But I mean, you could just see Mark Moss. I'm an investor. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a market disruptor, right? Obviously he's a do-nothing guy. That's what he is. Oh, look, Chris Martenson. And Chris Martenson, I've got this guy's number so much, just like Peter Schiff. This guy is a complete con artist, piece of trash, gold pumping loser. He lies about so many things. And his he was doing so much coronavirus bullshit that he's even written up in the media about how he was exploiting the coronavirus to get views. And this is one of Robert Kiyosaki's buddies here. And there you have it. Let's see, we want to buy tickets. Oh, I guess they lowered the amount. Right. So, they're going to, if they get any traction, it's the early bird. And the amazing thing is, even if you want to hear this garbage, it's the same crap that they talk about. It's like nothing new. It's the same bullshit. Anyway, folks, honestly, you need to be able to spot the trash out there. If you can spot the trash, you'll be able to spot a few of the trash bag guys, the garbage guys. And then you just see who they hang out with. And then you'll see the whole system, the whole syndicate of scam artists. And I can tell you right now, just about everybody on YouTube talking about economics and investing is either a scam artist or a complete clueless idiot. I don't know of any exceptions at all. In fact, as screwed up as the media is, I would say, honestly, you're going to get better information by far. There's no comparison. Just tune into the media, even the media shows on YouTube. And I'm not talking about so-called alternative garbage. I'm talking about the big networks. And that means avoid RT. That's complete trash. We're talking about the big, Australia, the Australian, what is it, ABC, the Canada and US, the big names. These guys are all just pushing cults I'm a prepper. Oh, get ready for the collapse. Complete garbage. I mean, if you're into this stuff, you're following this stuff, then if you don't already have mental illness, you probably will end up having mental illness, and it's going to be hard for you to be able to speak to people. People are going to shun you because they're going to know that you're just a wacko. So I'll get more into this garbage in the future. And once again, folks, take a look and see who these guys hang with. Take a look on Gammon's channel. We already saw, Meet Kevin's associated with George Gammon. Think about that. Think about that. So there you have it. That's it for today.
terms of getting back as an investor, if it's coming down to here, almost irrespective of what's going on, I have to believe, if I have to make a call in advance, and of course I can change depending on what happens, but I have to believe this is where you want to start doing that 18, 17, around there. Their earnings report is a complete game changer, at least for quite a while. Bottom line, NVIDIA now is going to enter the realm of Tesla, Apple, and all these other big, I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works. I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works.